Good morning to all the class 7 students of Royal Standard School. Today we'll study chapter 3, Fibre to Fabric, page number 24 of your textbook. So we have studied in class 6 about this chapter. It will be in chapter 3, and it will have the same topic as it is here, like fibers to fabric. Hey, chapter he class 6 consider to a fiber to fabric to in chapter number 3 to a class 6 oma. Tuna here class 6 basic consider tuna here animal source big can lack fibers and consider chiang to antani too. We have studied that we get fibers from both plants and animal sources. From plants, for example, like we get the cotton and jute. Okay. And from then animals, here we get wool and silk, which we are about to study in detail in this chapter. Okay. So first we have wool. So wool comes from some animals like sheep, goat, yoke, and some others animal. Okay, let us side, etc. Some others animal. Sheep kan ti chu, result control beram kan ti kaneta beram daw. Kan ti mo tam goat kan ti chu kel kan ti kan me ya. Ia kan ti he cover chin ta skima te he Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh hilai tang vur na khulai ve la hian anong thina bong ni chu si lo bong thang type ang chi hin ta loi kan ti to pon ni chong lo khang the type ka textbook kan khala khoma figure 3.2. You can look at the picture in figure 3.2 here, page 25 of your textbook. So all those sheep, goat and yoke, they are covered by hair. Okay. But the types of hair will be different. For example, if you touch the hair on your hands or under your armpit, and then touch your hair on your head, they will be different. Dang lam na in some te kan khoi bula in pan te ka hen khoi bula an dang lam do ni a than chu nge te ma sak de tal te mo nei cho khai nang do lo tan chu a than chu lo nem do thal me te mo ka tiang kha chi sang chang khau don ka chu tiang bok in. Likewise, even in sheep, yoke and goats, the types of hair are different. Okay, so the skin of sheep, especially we obtain wool from sheep. Okay, mainly from sheep. We also get wool from goat, yoke. Yeah, it's obvious, but let us concentrate in the sheep. So there are two types of fibers that are obtained from sheep. Okay, there are two types. Depending upon the nature. So one is the coarse beard hair, C-O-A-R-S-E, coarse beard hair. If we say coarse, it means refers to the roughness and the hardness of the hair. Okay, the roughness and hardness of the hair. It means it will not be soft, in other words. And then the second one is fine soft. It will be soft hair. When we write soft hair, which will be usually present near the skin. Okay, they will be mainly present near the skin. So there are two types of hair that there are two types of, let's say, two types of fibers that we obtain from the animals, like sheep, goat, and yoke. And before I kakaltui mayan kan say chatle, so fibers like fabric shatur chukan nito classic sa kanjil to. When we say fibers, it means a thin thread. It may be natural or artificial substance, okay, which are used to make the clothes and ropes. Miso tong chuan la de vek maya thin thread kan ti la de vek maya natural kan mu pa ngai mo machine kan siam chop te khom ta machine kan siam chop chu he nylon kan ti te tiang ho kan machine na synthetic mo khatia machine kan siam chop ho kan ta fibers kan ti chu kang ho la thom no siam na an man thin kan ta ni chuan fabric kan ti le thung chu kan thom no ho kang la atanga from no and siam ho more fabrics are those clothes which are produced by weaving and also like knitting and all. Weaving can be joined buon action buon ta then ho buon ta the ta then gan nu le pa te po so la action join an pia la ka pia and the ka tiang kha ani kan to fabric kan the how big to more. So just to be clear what to make clear all those two words, and then there comes a term union also, W-A-R in the end. We already this word also already studied in class 6. It is a spin thread. It is also a kind of a thread, but it is a spin. Or we can say that twisted thread. Okay, that are used for knitting and those knitting, weaving, weaving and all. Okay. I want to be clear with that one. So coming to what we have said, there are two types of fibers from which we obtain from the hair, or you can say the fleece of the hair. Okay. And then we farmers, and they used to rear all those sheep and all for getting wool. Okay. But they used to select those fine. Usually they obtain wool from the fine soft hair, which is present just near the skin. Okay. And they select those parents which have only fine soft hair. So the process of selection is known as selective breeding. Selective breeding kan ti hian hele mi chapter bi ka chon wulan lak don kan an beram ho ka fine soft hair an mani animal sheep ka ti beram te kel te an sam mo an sam ani meng chu an mul ani chu an mani tuam tu mul kha name do thak kha an du thina khang ho name do thak nei che chang ni lo in rough. They don't want all those roughness and hard hair of the sheep's goat and ear. Okay, they only want the soft hair. So in order to have the soft hair, they select those parents which have only the soft hair, and then they used to interbreed. They used to breed fa an nei tiu thrin ta ni chu an vun vun kan ti an mul nem nei ho chu kha an la khom ta te chonin fa nei tiu thrina chu mai chu a henga selective breeding the thrina selective breeding in atina pokan mu selective breeding hi he chapter a chu wool pick tan dia selective breeding shan om ta ni feature sam tinan bong a chuan bong atu tenga ang chi te kateng kha selective breeding an ti the thawa atu tenga ho kha an la khoma nge fa an nei ti ta chok tina khatiam an khan bi ka selective an ti breeding kan ti chon in kha pun tir tinan le no selective kan ti chu selection an nei an select an thang chuak ta a tha ho kha no breeding chu in kha pun tir sen kha no. And then coming to the animal that year rules. Okay. So in table number 3.1 of your textbook, page number 26, there are several breeds of sheep that are found in different parts of the country. Here there are different kind of breeds which provides different quality of wool and the place in which they are available in the country, in different part of the country. That is in India. Okay. However, the fleece of sheep is not only the source of the wool. So we did not obtain wool only from the sheep. Okay, from some other animals also we obtain wool. Like yak wool will be common in Tibet and in those region. Okay, Tibet and Ladakh. And then Angora wool is also from Angora goat that are found in the Jammu and Kashmir. The Angora goat. As I have said, we have also obtained from yak and goat also. Okay, so even not only in goat, even in camel. Okay, the fur we used to grow that fur. It's also known as that we can also call as a hair, the hair of the camel. From the hair of the camel also, we can obtain the wool. Camel kan ti chuan samong sei kan ti khan ya ma se thalera chi so hong sei zo kha mo giraffe kan ti zo ni lo kan so hong sei zo kha le ro chi zo kha ta tang te khan wool di kan thin ta ni mo tin pas mina show kan ti la le ne kashmir la le ne to ka kashmirin ko tama ke ra tanga a pul la kha kan ta ni chu mo joining moving on to the next topic, from fibers to wool. Okay, from fibers to wool. I think you fibers to wool too, and lakta. Or we also will come into this wool processing also. Okay, so rearing and breeding of sheep. So the farmers, the farmers used to rear the sheep for taking the wool. Okay, so if you travel to some place in different part of the country, like in Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Andhra Pradesh, or even Sikkim. Okay, Sikkim is popular in those in Northeast. So if you travel in these places, you will see the shepherds rearing sheep for taking wool from there. Okay, we must know that sheep are herbivores, which means that they prefer they eat only plant sources, plants product. Okay, herbivores are those only which eat plants. Let me say this. They prefer the grass. So they and then those shepherds used to take the sheep out into the grasses for feeding them. Okay, in addition to that, they also used to give the pulses, corn, oil cakes, and all, and even in minerals. Okay, so that is during summer, especially during summer, and then during winter, the sheep are kept indoors, since they are usually in those cold places. Okay, they usually put indoors, and then they feed on the leaves and the grain, and then even the dried foders. Okay, if I get nails on them, to mulhe terham the pot and far action to avatan muju Mizoram can mute and candia and vartalo attention a dum the ponumta. No, in Vangim bully and negative teacher and mani taxa tilum turin and natani. More and mani taxa tilum turin, they are a mulka and they joke tadi and multelo vote antima imitical. No, so we have to know that without the hair, or we can say that without the fleece, they can feel cold. Yeah. So taking off the wool, removing off the hair from the sheep is usually done during summer. Okay, during summer they usually take all those wool or the fleece from the hair from the sheep, so that they can even survive. So that the sheep, the goat and the ear can even survive the cold, their temperature without suffering from cold. Ini puila inan datlang pui chan chu klasik lai lak chuan an mu zong zong kha an lak thina wangin mo khabi wang khan vot tu wang an thi lo na ti khan ni puila inan datlang pui tin an lak na hian he lume tu te ina an ham thin kho lang chi he ta lume la kho lang chi ang khatiang chi khan an la thina ni mo chuanin chu tiang chuan an de thina let's come into wool processing. Okay, I will not explain in detail so much about all those things. Wool processing. So I think mutu an la atikan antify tek thuak antify and beng fight thok thuak an siam chuak mi bo I think an siam chuata amol an lang no and think and dia angin ye an da that ti te and think ye tikan amol hauka an than from him ti te khan je to jeng ni that is a wool processing, or you can say processing of fiber into wool. Okay, fiber into wool. So the first step involved is the fleece of the hair, or we can say the hair of the sheep, along with a thin layer of the skin. Okay, along with a thin layer of the skin is removed from the body. the process is known as shearing. Shearing kan ti chu engin tan kan ti chuan bel khat khang be ram atanga amul ho an lak kha kan process min kha shearing kan ti chung ti tan chu. Shearing is the process in which the fleece, or you can say the hair of the sheep, is removed from the body of the animal, of the sheep. Let me say of the sheep. Okay. So, like I said before, in order to remove, they use a machine. Those are similar used by those barbers and all. You may do the in an hunting the jidak and car mount more. So, like I said before, it's usually done in during summer, and then those wood fibers are processed into yarn. Like before, I say yarn. So, first step, and then in the second step, the shear skin with the hair is thoroughly washed in a tank to remove the grease, the dust, and the dirt. This is called scoring. Scoring only. Scoring can be doing here the tadi and the joint kang of mulan lap bo maybe a skin of the claim then can not train tani. I want no woman the mitten not strong away may buy not and happen pulukan will take and see it and talk and can see by him and became the thin skin they can a vulcan and lock to a hanger and be cloud of Taylor more. They can cutting chicken and allow. Joining our own trouble is it, and it's no come in the end of and the book honey song over hand and cheap or honey song over it too. My number would men in hand. Joining the scoring and the doing and the joint scoring and the two come up woolen lap more of them claim and lap think of management think and the unropen container the milk. But then I can under unsilver train and done to inviting silver train the joint come and bear arm drunk woolen lap. Til bal te more dust and dirt kan ti til bal te khalum thina til bal ba ka til mum mo til mum te khat khan an tifaya and silfai thina ni chu scoring ti a process in the scoring and ta chu be chu an silfai pa khat na chu hul la phota shearing the process and the name of the process is known as shearing. And then in number 2 is scoring, which means they clean all those hair that they taken from the animal. Okay, and in step number 3, it is there is which we known as the sorting. Sorting, S-O-R-T-I-N-G, sorting. There is a term known as the process known as sorting. Okay, so after scoring, there comes sorting is done. The hair skin is sent to a factory where the hair of different textiles are separated or sorted. So, in other words, we can say sorting is they differentiate or they separated. Okay, separated. Miso tong kan so yo chuan an thiar khang an silfai nu khan tiang factory lian ate khan kal puya an thiar sang ta ni chu mo khang an mul ho kha chu sang ten an alian do te ate do te a cha do te a pan do te khateng kha in pon noi don ta ni chu the chuan factory khan kal puya an thi khatiang ti na muna khan kal pe ti mo the chuan in an thiar sang ta ni chu khang kha alen dan in dot te a cha dan in dot te a sei dan in dot te khan an thiar sang ta chu bi chu a minga process minga sorting. And in number 4, it's step number 4, the small fluffy fibers called blur, which we call BURRS, blurs. Okay, are picked out from the hair. These are the same blur which comes from the sweater. So separation of blur at the hair. So if you you can search in Google also. Blur kan te he berama po hin inanga amula machine po khan it's look like a thorn. Okay, maybe right, looks like thorn, or let me say spike. Lingang do yan a perfect pa katiang ka amula kan atiang blur kan te he aron dom ta thina ni khatiang kha an du lowa o ul siam na han du lowa mang te le kut an mang lo pon khol mang te khan an thiar sang le thina ni tiang alen dan do te an dan hu khan tiang blur kan ti spike those which look like a thorn or like a spike, you can all those things are separated again, okay, using by hands or using some machines. So and then they after removing all those things, they dry it, okay, under the sun or some machine. They dry it. Blur kan ti chu hlingang do an mula lo on ve ka ti khan da thrang ta le thin ni chu. In step number 5, the fibers, all those fibers that they keep separated, they can dye in various colors. Okay, so dye can be joined at the time. Arong dang in and siam le thin ni natural join apang aya chuan beram kan ti te atlang pin a thun chu an buang ania an vara a then an duma kha apa ngai nom da ni angaro chu rong dang du chen tin a sen du te pon yang mo khatiang khan tin tiang khalang sang ti men ko khatiang khan an siam the ni chu apa ngai ka chuan in the drawer those shapes are black, white and brown. Let's say brown. Okay. And then if they want another colors, they use another dye. They can dye the fibers red, pink, purple, yellow, black, all those colors. Okay. So in step number 5, dyeing of the fibers. So if they want, they can dye it. And in the last step, that is step number 6, the fibers are strengthened, combed, and rolled, like I written down here, into yarn. Okay, the longer fibers that are used for wool, like sweaters, and the shorter fibers are like used for making woolen clothes. So after they dye the wool or the hair that they have taken out, undye rong dang an siam zo tu khan an tingi la tinang khui ma ba athan kha an roll tan chu chumi chu asei athen asei ho asei fiber sei do te kha mo kha te kha korluma sweater kan tia khatia te kha nan siam chuak da tan te kha nan da sang ta ti atoi do fiber klem atoi do kan ti te kha kora te mo khatia te kha anon siam chuak tan chu so these are the steps. So if they ask you in the exam, you have to write step by step. Step 1, don't write sharing on there. Here you have to explain it. So this is the process of wool, let me say, wool processing. Okay, so moving on. So like we said, the process of rearing silkworm for obtaining silk is known as sericulture. Okay, so rearing of silkworm for obtaining silk, there is a term called, it is known as sericulture. So before we studied about the processing of silk from silkworm, let us see the life cycle of silkworm. Okay, life cycle. We can also call it life cycle or even the life history of silk moth. So the female silk moth, okay, the female, let us say the female silk moth lay numbers of eggs. So they lay hundreds of eggs at one time. Okay, they lay egg, egg. Okay, then they write egg. They lay eggs, and then the larvae will hatch, which are known as caterpillar or silkworm. You can see the picture in page number 28 of your textbook. Okay, caterpillar or silkworm. If you see that, to like Pokemon, kan la khel wa Pokemon khel ho chon caterpillar chu a shape to kan shalo to kan caterpillar kan ti ba silkworm kan ti ka thil mun ra kan ta ni mo silk moth anu khan an tuya chuanin an ron keo chu ka chumi chu minga silkworm kan mo caterpillar kan ti ta ni chu. And then from this silkworm, the silkworm will move its head. Okay, they will move the head of the animal, of the silkworm, let me say. The head of the animal will move left to right. They will move like this. They will swing. Let's say its head will swing from side to form, with taking the shape of 8. 8 ang daw yan, alu hatin at che ka 8 ang daw yan shape here on chu. Oh, and then during the movement, the head of the capillary secretes. From the head of the capillary, it will secrete fibers. So it will secrete fibers which are made up of protein. Okay, and they are exposed. These fibers are exposed to the air in the atmosphere. Air in the atmosphere will become hardened. They will become hard, and they will become silk fibers. After some time, they will become silk fibers. Okay, silk fibers. And then later on, the capillary is completely covered itself by the silk fibers. It will be completely covered by silk fibers. This silkworm will be completely covered by the silk fibers like this. Okay. So the covering is known as cover to here, cocoon kan tani. Em silkworm ti kan lu kha ti kan ti che side zong kan ti che ya chu alu tang kan silk fibers ti an ron te chuak ta ni so mi chu protein atang sim kan ta ami borok ne na an hetia an ta ka khan mo silk fibers a lo in khak ta ti kha kal zela hun kha kal zela chuan atak sa pui kha a ron in khu ta ni chu mi a khu tu chu at nga kung kan ti chen ta ni. The further development of the pupa into moth, and then this stage is known as the when its covering is there, it's known as pupa. Okay, so after the silkworm, it will reach a stage called pupa. So from pupa, the development take under the covering of the cocoon into moth, M-O-T-H-S, moth. So we'll obtain silk fiber from silk moth. Or we can say we obtain it from moth. Okay, M-O-T-H, moth. So those are obtained from silk moth. And this after some time the silk moth will develop wings and then develop into what we call it as B-U-T-T, butterfly. Pink pellet and the hands and all that. I love cycle can it be butterfly and what we want is there from where do we obtain those silk? Okay, from the silk moth. It will change into silk moth. So depending upon the silk moth, there are different kinds of silk moth. Depending on that, there will be the silk that we obtain will be of different. It will have all different texture. Okay, like in the coarse. The softness, the hardness, the smoothness, the roughness of the silk. Okay, and then the most common silk moth that we found is mulberry. It's called mulberry silk, S-I-L-K silk, M-O-T-H moth. Okay, remember this one, the most common silk moth that we have found. So coming to the rearing of silk moth. Okay, so this one is the life history of the silk moth, and then let's come to the rearing of the silk moth, and then lastly we'll come to the processing of silk moth. So rearing of silk moth. Resultun kasi yung rearing of silk moth here. Pagtute na silkworm an encolta hadimate rearing of silk moth nito. Aming akan sericulture kan tiko. Actually, kang anu female silk moth kan tiko ka. Ang soyang kan an kiu tafik kati they lay hundreds of eggs at one time. Okay. So an tui zo an tui tafik dani zakam takan tui ta chuan atui kha anda tha thiani atui kha te parate one fire at the hand that touching ta chu anda tha ka kutna thok tu te ne na an petani. Farmers, they give to the farmers who are handling of those silkworms. Kutna thok tu te ne la han da ta chuan kutna thok tu te khan anda kha hun thiam he ma te an da tha a lum tok chi a sa tok chi te humidity kan te hian borua ka tui hu om kan suina kan le ta under the suitable conditions of temperature and humidity kan ti han mo a lum tok chi ta han ta chuan khang a tui kha an ti sa chut an ti lum he hun luma an da yo hun luma an da ta chuanin arong keu ta ne khang a tui te khanom keu ta anong keu dong khan silkwam kan ti ho enkol tu te hian thai and ching an eno train to chumbi chu mal, like we say, the most common that we have said, I would say mulberry trees. Okay, mulberry trees kan ti he khang tu te khan an ching train le tiang silkwam an enkol pa khan a chan chu heng silkwam kan ti te hian caterpillar kan ti mo silkwam mo caterpillar ka nung thang kan chu chun zang zo bin hembi mulberry trees na hi an e thin ani mo chun zang zo man an e thin na ti an e ta se la thakhat ni som ni panga tanga ni som thum nuwa khan thakhat nu ve la ni chu khang an e thin kha an e to du an e du to lo nu khan mawa hian mau khan phela mawa khan an da thina ni chu nen ka mawa khan da ta mau khan phela an da ta chu khang mau an da khan tree kan ti ang te an ma ni support the tu tu kha an da ter thina ni ta chuan helai takun kan ti a cover tu mo piupa ni a stage at la takun kan ti cover tu kha anon on tu ta chuan anon on kho ta thri ta ni. You can see the figure atalakai in textbook han figure 3.10 khan mo thenga khatiang kakun kha silkmot mo the capital of the silkworm, the cocoon inside which develop into silkworm kan ti kha silkmot kan ti khan kakun tang khan silkmot khan mo chok athina chumi chu an enkol dan ani chu thank you. So moving on to the last topic, the processing of silkworm. Okay, so like what we say, the pile numbers of, let me say, oh, I have written down there, but let me write here again. The pile of cocoon. Okay, so the pile of cocoon are used for obtaining silk fiber. Like I said before, they are used for obtaining silk fibers. So the cocoon are kept under the sun. Okay, they dry. It means they dry those cocoon are kept under the sun. They dry it under the sun, or they expose to some steam. Okay, and then the silk fibers are separated out. So the silk fibers, like I said before in the life cycle or the life history, those cocoon, the covering of these silkworms are made up of protein, which turns into silk fibers. Okay, so from the covering of the silkworm, they are separated out. So the process of taking out the thread from the cocoon for the use of silk is known as the processing of separating. Let me say the process of taking out of the thread from the cocoon. Yeah. From the cocoon, the process is known as reeling. R-E-E-L-I-N-G. Reeling. Let me say reeling of the silk. Reeling of the silk. So the process of separating the fiber from the cocoon is known as reeling. So reeling is also done by some machines. Okay. It means unwinding of the thread of the fibers from the cocoon. So silk fibers are obtained from silkworm in this process. So this is what we can study in this class. Okay. So for your assignment, please turn your textbook page number 32. Page number 32 of your textbook. Please try to do question number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 8. And your last date of submission will be sent to WhatsApp. Okay, thank you.